All right, 55th Circuit Court is now in session. The Honorable Roy J. Meek presiding.
May be seated. Calling the case of the People versus Jesse Jacob Hill. Counsel identified for the record, please.
Good morning, Your Honor. Chief Assistant Prosecuting Attorney Alicia Schwartz, appearing on behalf of the people.
Thank you, Your Honor. Todd Diedrich, appearing on behalf of Mr. Jesse Jacob Hill, who's appearing from the jail via Zoom.
You are Jesse Jacob Hill?
Yes, Your Honor.
How old are you?
32.
Would you raise your right hand and be sworn?
Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, I do.
For the record, previously, Mr. Hill pled to count 1 plus a habitual offender fourth. Apparently that was a mistake under what the plea agreement was, but the plea agreement also considered recovery court. And it's my court's understanding that he's not going to be accepted into recovery court. Is that your understanding, Ms. Schwartz?
It is, Your Honor.
And Mr. Diedrich?
Yes, Your Honor. It's my understanding that he was not eligible for recovery court.
All right. So then there's a new plea agreement, and what we're going to do is allow him to withdraw his previous pleas. Is that correct, Mr. Diedrich?
Yes, Your Honor. We would ask that the court allow him to withdraw his pleas.
Is that correct, Ms. Schwartz?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, the court will allow him to withdraw his pleas, previous plea to count 1 and habitual fourth. And the court understands that there's a new agreement in which he will plead to count 1 as a habitual second and an added count 5, operating while impaired, second offense, a misdemeanor that carries a maximum penalty of 1 year in the county jail. Is that a second offense or just operating while impaired?
It's impaired and it's a 93-day.
Okay, 93-day misdemeanor. But with the habitual second, count 1 becomes a 7.5-year maximum penalty. Is that your understanding, Mr. Diedrich?
It is, Your Honor. In addition, I believe there was a Briggs-Killebrew agreement of a 12-month cap.
All right. Mr. Hill, have you heard everything that's gone on so far this morning?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, and you're in agreement?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. And today's purposes, Mr. Diedrich, is the waiving reading of the amended information.
Yes, Your Honor.
Previously, he had waived preliminary examination. Is that correct?
That is my understanding, yes.
Mr. Hill, you're being charged with count 1, motor vehicle unlawfully driving away, plus habitual offender second. That makes that a felony with a maximum penalty of 7.5 years in prison. Secretary of State will suspend your driver's license for a period of time. You're also being charged with count 5, while impaired, a misdemeanor carries a maximum penalty of 93 days in jail and or a $300 fine and or 360 hours of community service. You could be ordered into rehabilitative programs. Vehicle immobilization is mandatory if you have a prior conviction under. Plus, you could be ordered to pay costs of prosecution, reimburse the government for any emergency response. Otherwise, the minimum on both are discretionary with the court. Do you understand the charges and the possible penalties, Mr. Hill?
Yes, Your Honor.
There's one of 3 possible pleas you may make to these charges. You may plead guilty if you are guilty, but don't plead guilty unless you are guilty. You may plead not guilty, or you may stay on mute, in which event the court will enter a plea of not guilty for you. Do you understand the one of 3 possible pleas you may make?
Yes.
Answering the count 1, motor vehicle unlawfully driving away. How do you plead?
Guilty.
Answering to count 5, operating while impaired, how do you plead?
Guilty.
Answering to habitual offender, second offense, notice, how do you plead?
Guilty.
Do you understand that no one may make any promises for this court as to what your sentence will be?
Yes, Your Honor.
Court further informs you that if your pleas are accepted, you will not have a trial of any kind and therefore give up the following rights: the right to have a trial by jury, the right to have a trial in front of this court sitting without a jury, the right to be presumed innocent until proven guilty, the right to be proven guilty beyond a reasonable doubt, the right to question all witnesses against you, the right to have this court order witnesses on your behalf into court to testify at trial, the right to remain silent and not have that silence used against you during trial, and the right to testify at trial if you wish to do so, and have your testimony considered in the same manner as any other person's testimony. Do you understand these rights?
Yes, Your Honor.
You understand by pleading guilty, you give up each and every one of those rights.
Yes, Your Honor.
Ms. Schwartz, what is the plea agreement?
Your Honor, the plea agreement in this case is that the defendant will enter a guilty plea to count 1 as habitual offender second and the added count 5 of impaired. And in exchange for that, we will be dismissing the remaining counts and the habitual offender fourth. There is also a Briggs-Kilgrew agreement of a 12-month cap on initial incarceration. The defendant will also be responsible for the restitution to the law enforcement and a cost of actual prosecution.
You have those amounts?
I do not have those amounts at this time. Those are calculated at the time of sentencing.
All right. Mr. Diedrich, is that your full and complete understanding of the plea agreement?
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Hill, did you hear it was put on the record as the plea agreement?
Yes, Your Honor.
Did you understand it?
Yes.
And are you in agreement with it?
Yes. Yes, Your Honor.
Has anybody promised you anything beyond what was stated in the plea agreement to induce you to plead guilty?
No.
Has anybody threatened you or your family in order to induce you to plead guilty?
No, Your Honor.
Has anybody promised you that if you pled guilty, this court would be lenient upon you in any way?
No.
Is it your own personal choice to plead guilty?
Yes, Your Honor.
And are you doing so freely and voluntarily?
Yes.
Do you have any questions about what the court has told you?
No.
Have you understood everything that the court has told you?
Yes, Your Honor.
In light of everything that the court has told you, do you still wish to plead guilty?
Yes.
Drawing your attention to on or about June 9th of 2021. Did you willfully and without authority take possession of and drive away or assist in or was a party to such taking possession, driving or taking away of a motor vehicle, a 2004 Dodge Ram belonging to another person?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. Did you know who that vehicle belonged to?
Yes.
And who was that?
My mother.
All right. And that's Melissa Abraham?
Yes, Your Honor.
And she never gave you any permission to take that motor vehicle, is that correct?
Correct.
And while driving that motor vehicle, had you been drinking some alcohol?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. And what kind of alcohol were you drinking?
Canada House. This whiskey,
All right. And how much of it did you have?
like 3 mixed drinks.
All right. Was that enough to make your ability to drive a motor vehicle impaired?
Yes.
Was there also a blood test or a breathalyzer done?
Yes, it was .12.
All right. May the court take judicial notice of that, Mr. Diedrich,
Yes, Your Honor.
which is less than 2 times the amount to be found guilty of a charge. And is it true that you were previously convicted on or about July 25th of 2016 of home invasion in the 3rd degree in the 19th Circuit Court for Manistee County, State of Michigan?
Yes, Your Honor.
Satisfied with the factual basis, Ms. Schwartz?
I do just have a couple of other questions,
All right.
if I may.
You may.
Just in case they're, for the PSI purposes. On the way to the hospital, were you completely and fully cooperative with Sergeant Dawson and his request to place your hands behind your back?
Yes, I was, but I was kind of, I don't know, like, I had an attitude, but I was, respectful enough on the way there.
Isn't it true you in fact threatened Sergeant Dawson and his family on his way to the blood draw at the ER?
Yes.
Thank you, I don't have anything additional.
Satisfied with the factual basis, Mr. Diedrich?
Yes, Your Honor.
Has the court complied with the court rules, Ms. Schwartz?
It has, yes, Your Honor.
Has the court complied with the court rules, Mr. Diedrich?
Yes.
Court has not agreed upon the possible plea or the possible sentence with either prosecutor, defendant, or anyone acting in the interest of either. Court is convinced the plea is accurate, has been freely, voluntarily, understandingly, and knowingly made. Plea is accepted in order to upon the records of this court. Sentencing will be set for September 27th.
Your Honor, I'm on a state of that.
You're out of time, state at that time? Okay, then we'll go to the next date, October. October 12th at 9:40 a.m. Defendant is referred to the Department of Corrections for the preparation of a pre-sentence investigation report. Bond is canceled. The case is adjourned to the date time set for sentencing. Anything further, Mr. Diedrich?
No, Your Honor, thank you.
Anything further, Ms. Schwartz?
None, thank you, Your Honor.
All right, we're in recess.
All right.